Board of Trustees, split view. I am good.
You ready, Terry? I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you'd please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Trustee Birch. Present. Trustee Favdahl.
Present.
Treasurer Anderson.
Present.
Trustee Klee.
Present. Sorry.
Trustee Campbell. Present. Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Thank you.
And you too. Are there any deletions or additions to the agenda tonight? No? Are there any corrections to the minutes of the last meeting, February 20th, 2023? Any corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from February 20th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. No? Those stand approved. We move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium and please give us your name, and we'll give 4 minutes for you to address the board. Anybody? I know you're not going to pass it up. I started it. I'm going to stop it, and I'll start it again. Ready? Okay, start.
My name is Gerald Roberts. I live in Flint Township. Tonight I want to talk about a little piece of paper I think everybody that lives in Flint Township got through the mail in the last couple of weeks. It says, "This is not a bill. Notice of assessment, taxable valuation for property classification." And so once I looked at it, I decided, how can my property, even with inflation, go up pretty close to $25,000 in 1 year? Now, if I had money invested in the stock market, man, I could really make some money, couldn't I? But I can't. And if the assessed valuation is half of what the true value of your property means that my house is just shy in 1 year, pretty close to $25,000 increase. And with my background with regard to financial, General Motors, I know how that could happen. What in state law or what in the taxable view would make it that my property would go up $25,000 in 1 year? And I think last year was a similar figure, and I think maybe it might have been 15 or 18,000. So close to maybe $40,000 in 2 years. Be nice if I could take that true value, come up here to this tax gal that's Paula Dodson, and I've had run-ins with her before, and not very good. You know, people are supposed to be beneficiaries. I think Mr. Kevin Stiff talks about that, about how you're supposed to be with the people and for the people. Now, there's a tax review board coming up. So I called up the supervisor and I asked if I could get a FOIA form to ask just exactly what the computation would be as to what would justify $25,000 increase in my property. Now, when I go before this review board, and I've done it for quite a few times, they always discount that. No, you're only being charged a certain percentage under the Headley, and it's only a certain percentage of that particular true value, so you're paying a lot less. And on here it says that with that increase, it's only going to be $135. for this next year. Now, I'm 80 years old, and if I die, my wife's gonna have to try to see if she can stay into that house. And every year, it's like compound interest. That figure goes up and up. If the true value or assessed valuation goes up, then that figure goes up. And every year, she's gonna have to pay more and more money being on a fixed income. So she might not be able to afford to. So I come in here and I protest that. But these people that are on this tax review board are supposed to be people like me and you. They don't see it that way. And I don't know if they've been indoctrinated or whatever by the state or the training that they've gone through. I was asked to be on that board years ago. I didn't have the time to do that because I was working and I was out of town. But it's it's supposed to be a fair board. I'd say it's far from being a fair board. But to take it to the state, you're supposed to go before that board before you can take it on. It's not fair. Did my time run out?
It's up.
Boy, that was quick. Wasn't it? Boy, I wish I had somebody else's time. Maybe we can look into that.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Nope.
I don't think I can do that. I think this board, we can do that on the House floor. They won't let us do it. We can do that on the House floor, but we can't do it here.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Sorry, Mr. Roberts.
I ain't gonna complain.
What? Did you want a compliment? You could do that too. All righty. So, oh, he is.
On my new haircut?
All right. Forgive me, but Gene Leverett from Scenic View Drive. But we certainly thank God for being here tonight. And I thought we skipped over the prayer, and I was going to get up and do the prayer, but
Go right ahead.
nevertheless, I'll go ahead and make the compliment before I do that. But I think that you guys have been doing a great job, especially when you come out with the different things. I think Mr. Clee always be on top of. I think me and him kind of gel when it comes down to thinking about the things that are being done in the township, and we always talk about whatever's going on. And he seemed to kind of get it around to whoever I like to talk to or talk about or whatever. You know, we hook up, and I appreciate all of you. You've been doing a great job. So I'm gonna take these here last few minutes here, and I'm gonna yield the floor. You gonna yield the floor to me to do the prayer?
If you went to
All right.
public comment, you could say anything.
All right. We certainly thank God. Lord, we thank you right now, Lord God. Look upon each and every one of us, Lord God. Touch our minds, Lord God, and turn our minds to you, Lord God. You said in your word that we need to be like-minded, Lord God. So, Lord, help us right now to be helpers one to another. And we certainly thank God for the space and the time, Lord God. Look upon each and every one in the room. We certainly thank you, Lord God. Lord, help us right now to move forward in the Flint Township. And I think collectively we can do that. And let's put our energy and our minds to discovering Flint Township. God bless you. You all been doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Mr. Leverett.
Thank you, Gino.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Anyone? Okay. One last time. Public comment is over. We'll move on to reports. I don't have much of a report tonight. I know there was a lot of snow and ice this last week, and I noticed in our community and in other communities, people who are plowing, I know this might come as a surprise to you, but you're not supposed to plow your driveway into the street. That's not allowable, but I've seen it. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where to put it if you don't have a side yard, but anyway, you're not supposed to plow your driveway into the road. It makes for hazardous driving.
How about this truck coming down into my driveway?
You'll have to take that up with Genesee County Road Commission.
That's what I'm gonna say.
So I also will say that as the weather changes and the snow's melting, I see a lot of water collecting on the side of the roads. And for those people who have catch basins, if you would be so generous and kind as to help by clearing the catch basin. If there's one in front of your house, the water can go down in the drain and away from the roads and away from your house. So be mindful of that when the leaves fall or when the water's traveling and it brings all the debris on top of the grate. If you would, preferably you would clean it up, but if not, you can call Genesee County Road Commission and see if we can't get one of their street sweepers out. They have a new policy where for a while they weren't sweeping the streets every year, but I think starting last year, we can expect more street sweeping. And on that note, Mr. Leverett, I'm sure would like for me to say, when you mow your lawns, the grass clippings aren't supposed to go in the street either, so be mindful of that. Yard waste pickup begins the first week in April. That's a few weeks away. It ends the last week in November. And as well as our parks open up in November. Our trail, our one park and our many trails open up in April and close in, I think it's the end of November. They're open from sunrise to sunset. So that's all I have for my report. Madam Clerk, do you have a report this evening?
I do not have a report, no.
Madam Treasurer, do you have a report this evening? No. Are there any trustee reports?
Want me to go ahead?
Anyone?
Okay, I just would like to mention that Tracy and I have been busy. We are working on our Easter Bunny Trail and the Easter egg hunt. The Bunny Trail is going to run through March 17th through the 26th. That will be at the businesses where you can go and enter to win a prize. And then after, say, the 27th, we'll be picking up the boxes and we'll be drawing the names. And then the kids will be winning the baskets that the businesses have prepared for them. The Easter egg hunt will be at the Genesee Valley, and that will be on April the 1st from 11:30 to 1:30. And we will also have prizes there, free candy, games. And we are looking for volunteers. I know that Annette has already signed up. But if anybody else would like to participate in this event, please let myself or Tracy know.
Trustee Vert, any?
One thing, a couple things. The senior center has one more day for taxes, and that's April 14th. There are a few openings if you want to call and schedule that. Also, March 30th from 9 to 12 is the annual health fair, and they'll be giving flu and COVID vaccines. You can have your cholesterol and your blood pressure screened, and there'll be other vendors there too.
And that's all free? Is it just restricted to seniors?
Yep. So 9 to 12 on the 30th.
Is that March 30th or April 30th?
March 30th.
3:30.
What's the age appropriate for seniors?
You qualify,
You're old
don't worry.
You're old.
Wow. I
I think 55, is that right? Because
just making sure, just covering double
when you
nickel.
become a member or a frequent visitor, they give you a tag, and it has a barcode, and they keep track of visitors, and I think seniors are considered 55 and older, right? Okay. Down this way, any trustee reports?
Nope.
Trustee Kling?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. As always, I appreciate the crowd seems to be getting bigger. Different faces here this evening than we've had in the past. It's nice to see some, I'm not going to use the word older faces. I'm going to say some faces from a while ago that are now in the building. It's nice to see faces that you haven't seen in a while. I got that same, and I'm going to talk about, not about Mr. Roberts. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about Mr. Roberts. I'm going to talk, mention a comment, and while he was talking, and I looked at mine as well and had a conversation with my right-hand person in my life. And I just punched in, and Deb was sitting here next to me, and I just punched in this. What was the average taxable increase for homes in 2022? Yep, I'm going to sit here with a computer in front of me. I'm going to just sit here, and here's my part of my comment. Detroit home values increased in average. To answer to this question, there were 8,820,000 results to this in 32-second search. Detroit homes values increased an average of 20% in 2022. Individual tax increases, however, were capped at the 5%. Homes all across the Detroit are continuing all across. The Detroit area is continuing a 6-year trend of significantly rising property values. with these increases, more than most surrounding communities, says Mayor Mike Duggan. Flip down here to one more thing. How much can property taxes increase in the state of Michigan? And via this document, and hey, the internet is always correct, ask Al Gore, 5%. How much can a property tax increase in Michigan? In Michigan, a property taxable value will increase from 1 year to the next by a rate of inflation or 5%, whichever is less, until ownership of that property transfers. So as long as we're still following those guidelines, and as long as that's what's happening in the state of Michigan, it says and states to that fact that 5% is where we are capped at what it would be in that respect. I don't know if that helps to clarify answer or not, and I'm going to read this one also. Are you sitting down? What state has the highest property tax rate in 2022? New Jersey. What states have the highest property taxes in 2022? The state with the highest P-tax is New Jersey. New Jersey. Homeowners in Jersey may pay more than $8,000 per year plus in property taxes depending on the value of their home. And that was from August 2022. So just to help us all get through reading that paper and knowing what that says, the one thing I look at it as is to say, well, you know, we have two things that we can invest in. We can invest in our retirement, and hopefully that increases, and we can invest in a home, hoping that value, when we're ready to either transfer it, sell it, get rid of it, or when I'm still young enough to do things and have money to do it, that home will be maybe something I could sell and have some value in it. But for the benefit of everybody, it states it right here, and Google never lies, but I was just typing up some things and looking along those lines, just to respond to some of the things out there. Mr. Leverett, thank you as always for those nice comments, and thank you for offering the prayer. If anybody's interested, and I'm going to speak to the fact of Flushing schools and Carmen Ainsworth schools, I do get to do that because of my full-time employment. The Flushing Schools is hosting tomorrow evening the regional ladies basketball game. If you're interested in attending that, that is at 7 p.m. in their new gym. If you haven't been in that gym, that's gorgeous. That's a gorgeous facility. They offer it out also for all kinds of events. But tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Carmen Ainsworth ladies will be playing Grand Blanc in the regional. And then Wednesday night at 5:30, we can run across to another school district in our area, Swartz Creek. And there will be two games in that gym on Wednesday evening, 5:30 and 7:15. Carmen Ainsworth will be playing the 5:30 contest. I'll be seated at the table at both of those like I'm seated at the table this evening. That's my longest report, and I'm looking at my calendar, Carol. We need to talk about that first. On the first, let me make sure that I think I can help you out in some way if that would be beneficial.
Great. So we'll move on to staff reports. Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report for us this evening?
We had the zoning board of appeals met last week, and they did approve the variance for Chick-fil-A. There was a variance for parking for the McLaren Hospitality House. They approved both of those, and then the other matter they had was tabled, which was a fencing issue. We do have planning commission this week where we have two zoning change public hearings. We have a Family Dollar that would be a new build at the corner of Elms and Beecher. We have a warehousing project that's just south of Lennon Road on Elms. That would be a complete new build, and then a project for storing cars for GM at the corner of Bristol and Van Slyke. So those are all on the agenda for this Thursday. If anybody's interested in attending, it is at 6 o'clock. We also have tomorrow at 1:30, we have the Bristol Road CIA meeting. There's nothing really on the agenda, I believe, other than nomination, election of officers. They're required to have that meeting in March, whether they have any action items or not, because it's their annual meeting according to their letter, or their incorporation papers. Yes, it is here.
At 1 o'clock.
Yes. And I think that's 1:30, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, 1:30. And it
Someone
it
asked
is
me that,
here.
and
The, I think you get a copy of the agenda, yeah.
Someone asked me the exact time. I'll text it now.
Okay, yeah, they have the oddball time, which is 1:30. And then, tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, I will be in Lansing with Michigan Economic Developers Association and Michigan Downtown Associations, with meetings with legislators. And then also, I've been working with Mr. Wilson from Communities First on some funding opportunities through Senator Peters' office. He will be giving a presentation here in a few minutes. So I think that's it.
Chief Salter?
Yes, ma'am. Since our last board, we responded to almost 1,300 calls, which is about a 92 per day average. Not including that number is 87 business checks, 63 residence checks, and 142 traffic stops. Looked up some different stats to compare the both from 2021 to 2022 in relation to guns that and the number of arrests that we made for illegal guns on this street.
Microphone closer.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Much
I was
better.
getting by that one. There wasn't a point. All right. I looked up some different stats from March 1st to September 1st, 2021 to March 1st to September 1st of 2022. And there has been a 30% increase in the number of arrests we have made for illegal guns. Our officers made. So guns are out there. And I do not have anything for the agenda.
Thank you. Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, February 20th, we've responded to 51 incidents. This includes 4 structure fires in the last 2 weeks. On February 24th, we responded to a structure fire in the 3000 block of Dayton in Myrtle Grove Mobile Home Park. Fire crews arrived to find a trailer fully involved in fire. One resident was treated by EMS for smoke inhalation, but was released on scene there. There were no other injuries on that scene. That trailer was a total loss. On March 2nd, we responded to a smoke investigation call at Sunridge Apartments. The initial report was that a smoke detector was going off, but no smoke or fire was seen. The duty firefighter arrived from Fire Station 2 in about a minute. Reported nothing showing on that incident. When he made entry into the building, he saw smoke coming from a third floor apartment. He immediately requested more personnel to the scene, donned his air tank, and entered the apartment knowing that someone was inside of that apartment. He made entry, found a small fire on the stove, appeared to be a cooking fire, located the resident who was asleep in his bed, did not hear the smoke detector going off in the house or in the apartment, fell asleep while cooking. He immediately assisted him out of bed and out of the apartment, and luckily he was checked out by EMS but was uninjured. This is another reminder why we never get complacent, and even those calls that seem to be very minor can sometimes turn out to be much more.
That's why I try not to cook.
Good call. And then just to kind of touch on an event we had in our township on March 3rd. We had the funeral for a City of Flint firefighter that passed away about a week and a half ago now in the line of duty. That funeral was held at the Central Church of the Nazarene on Bristol Road, and it was quite an event for anyone that has seen anything on Facebook or may have even seen it in person. Hundreds of firefighters, hundreds of attendees from around the state, country, even firefighters from Canada were here to attend. It was quite a event. During that event, your Flint Township firefighters assisted the city of Flint by covering the west side of their area, so all of their firefighters were able to attend the funeral. While we were covering that with about 5 other departments, we did respond to one house fire off of Flushing and Chevrolet area. Our crews were the first ones on the scene. We're able to quickly get that fire under control with the assistance of the other departments also. No injuries were reported in that fire, but we were very happy to be able to assist them in that, sad time in their department and to be able to provide that coverage. So that was one of 3 line of duty deaths for firefighters in about the last 10 days, and 2 of those 3 were actually in Michigan. So it's been a rough few weeks. We just want to offer our condolences to the city of Flint and the city of Paw Paw, that both lost firefighters in Michigan in the last 10 days or so. And we have no action items on the agenda tonight.
Thank you for handling that so well.
Yes.
So, do we have any committee reports? No committee report tonight. We move on to our presentation by Communities First. Mr. Wilson.
Well, I didn't bring the whole presentation, but no, I'm Glenn Wilson, President and CEO of Communities First Inc. Thank you so much for having me here today. I appreciate the generosity of your time, and also Tracy Tucker being responsive. Right now, we're working on a few projects in Flint Township, and so when we look at projects, we try to figure out how we can partner with the cities or the townships or the places that we work across Michigan or Indiana. I mean, we're a Flint-based organization, so we're in the city, or actually in the township as well. And so what we were doing was, while working on these projects, we were having a conversation with Senator Peters' office to try to figure out some additional things that we could do in the community, not just with our projects, but also things that the township may need as well. So I reached out to Tracy Tucker about a week and a half ago and just let her know, like, hey, there's some funds out there that we're thinking to apply. We would like to partner with the township on getting some of those additional funds so we can do some infrastructure, environmental building improvements to a couple of the sites that we're working on. And then we also wanted to figure out if the township has some projects that they wanted to work on as well, and then we can put these things together and submit them. And so after we had a conversation, she went and did some research to see what type of projects that the township might be wanting to work on. And so it sounds like we have a couple of those projects that can be submitted to Senator Peters. So our goal is to submit those. So this was support with the projects that we're working on. Probably about a $30 million between both the projects, about $30 million in investments in the sites. And so that's why we're, looking to partner with the township and try to see what we can do, not only just to help our sites, but also the neighborhoods, around it, and the infrastructure and different things like that, to make sure it's just, not even better on the developments, but also, better on the community as well. So if anybody has any questions for me,
Does anyone have any questions? I have a quick question. The 30 million, would that be split between Bristol Road and Fenton Road area, and then the other one on Ballinger by Flushing?
Yes. Yep. So that would be between the 2 sites. That is correct. Yep.
And so you completed a project on just north of Ballinger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 3-story, 4-story, is it an apartment
That's
complex?
3-story, yep. Berkeley
And
Place
it's
Apartments.
fenced, is that what it's gonna look like over at Ballinger and?
No, it
Flushing?
actually has a lot different design than that. It has,
I didn't go to the planning commission meeting.
Right. So it has a first floor, like commercial space, and then it has apartments at the top. So it's a little bit different, where that one just has mostly residential.
It's a beautiful site.
Yeah, thank you.
So as far as the project or the partnership, you said we've identified some things. I guess I haven't heard those things. What are they?
Well, so that was what she was just speaking of. So it'd be the site right there on Bristol and Fenton Road. And then it'd also be the Orchard Grove site as well, which is over off Flushing and Ballinger, which is a site that we're currently working on right now with the township. So we've secured some funding already, but there's some other infrastructure and environmental things that need to be done on the site as well. So this is a way for us to get some additional funds. And then I know Tracy was working on a few projects. I'm not for sure, I don't have that list, but I know she was working on putting together a list of what those projects are for the township to be able to put those in there as well, to apply for them all together.
Do you want to describe them?
So we were looking at, because of the appropriations that they're looking at, it has certain items that you can apply for. The ones that would fit our needs were the economic development, neighborhood stabilization,
And blight
blight
enforcement, yep.
enforcement. And so when I spoke with Supervisor Miller, what we were looking at was on the Flushing Road area, there's a couple of projects that demolition needs are there. But also, we're trying to look at cleanup issues, like cleaning up some of the blight that's in the area. I don't know, we have to look at what we can use those funds for beyond. I don't know if we can use it for people, or if we can just use it for the projects that they do. So we were looking at the Myrtle Grove, Harmony Healthcare Building, on the south end. We were also looking at, one of the things that the DDA's been looking at is the graffiti issue that we have throughout the township. So we were looking at possibly getting wraps for the utility boxes to help control that, as a blight issue. One of the things I wanted to we're looking into, that we hadn't added yet was possible walkability, especially in the Bristol Road area of, looking at putting sidewalks on Bristol Road and Fenton Road. Fenton Road's already got some, but, so that we can address that walkability issue and, pedestrian crossings, that kind of stuff, so.
One of the sites that Tracy's been looking, well, part of the project application is at Mitson in Flushing. It's a, did it used to be called Superior Glove?
It was the Glove
Superior-
Factory, it was Superior Image, and it was Container Specialties.
So it's it's in the land bank inventory right now, and the state of Michigan Eagle Department has been working because there's contamination that's leached into the ground, and they are monitoring the quality of water in that area and those houses around it. So I know you've been in touch with Faith Finholm from the land bank, so that, I mean, they already have an estimate to demolish that, and it's close to $300,000, and that's not any mitigation of the contaminated soil. So that's a big project that needs to be taken care of that we don't have funds to do right now. So she's got, I don't know, 4 or 5 things on a list that we
That
can.
what will come to the board for a conversation, like we may have ideas as well that could go on there, or at least be able to prioritize whatever it is that you're coming up with?
So I think the idea right now is that you have an idea to approach Senator Peters' office, and
Yeah.
you're looking for some township support or
Yeah,
partnership.
so pretty much what would happen is we would apply for the funds. We don't have to get specific, very specific on the projects, but Tracy, you know, and the township does have to give me, we went through the application, just kind of give her idea. The township has to give us an idea of the particular things they're looking for. That's why she named those, which was like workforce development, blight enforcement, neighborhood stabilization. So if we can put those things in there, and then they'll come back and maybe ask us for additional projects at that time, and then we can get more detail. Like as of right now, it's a very small block, and we have to fit a lot in, like to 300 words. It's a very small window, but a window of opportunity to go and get the funds, and then they'll ask for additional details later.
And does it have to be anywhere near your projects? Is that part
No,
of-
those are
Just in the community.
just as long as they're in the community. So they can be spread out. I think just what Tracy was talking about was there just other things that was in those areas, because these particular areas haven't had a lot of investment, like from the township in these particular spaces. So I think where she was just thinking is like, you know what, we haven't really focused on these particular areas in the township. So, and those are the areas that we're investing in. So maybe we put a little investment here, a little there, and kind of spread it out, but try to do but also try to get a big project done all at the same time. So I think that was more or less her thought and idea around some of the projects that you guys were discussing, but it doesn't have to be baked out. Particularly ours, we have to be, because it's fairly 2 large sites. Those are going to be pretty baked in as far as the sites that we're moving forward with.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Wilson?
Go ahead, Barb. No, go.
Is the Bristol and Fenton Road area Baker College?
Yes.
That's it.
That's fine.
I remember you came before us a couple of times back during COVID when we had Zooms and that for the Ballinger piece that you're working on, the Ballinger and Flushing area.
Yep.
And I go by it frequently, and I'm glad you're here, because and you just stated, we're working on that, and you had stated then that you've got a lot of hoops to jump through to get that thing squared away. Are we,
Oh, no, I mean, we're like 95% there.
okay,
So 95, it's just some environmental and some other stuff that's not allowing us to move forward. It's more third-party things at this point, and those are the things we're working on, and then just some additional funds to take care of some of the infrastructure, and some of the environmental cleanup that's gonna have to happen on site. And so we've had a lot of support, congressional, Senate offices and different things of that nature. And so when it was like, hey, we need to figure these things out, they were like, hey, well, what area are you in? And it was like, okay, well, let's try to figure out. And at first, we were just thinking to apply. And then when we thought about it, it was like, no, what I'm saying, the township has other stuff, and it should go through the township anyway. So let's just have the conversation, with the township and see if there's something else, because we found out there were some additional funds that could be asked for more than what we were going to need for our project. So why not, also include the township and let them ask for some funds as well.
I appreciate that,
well,
thank you.
and for those folks that hadn't seen those plans, like you stated, it really does, it's a nice layout. We went through it in the zoning board. All of us looked at it over and over and over, and it's really gonna be a nice fixture when it's done. And, if you haven't driven the other one, just north of it, a block or so, go drive through it and drive around it. It's really nice. You're gonna do a good job there.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No? Applications due by the 15th of this month?
Yes. So our goal is to try to have it done by early next week. So we're not waiting till next Thursday. So hopefully we have another call with Tracy here this week, so we can try to get some things finalized and get, put the, I guess what you would say, cross your T's and dot your I's and get it in next week. So,
And when do you find out what the answer is?
so you know what, you're asking me.
Sorry.
I would always say as soon as they give us an answer. And what I mean by that is, as far as, it depends on how the budgeting process goes with the Senate and Congress. So it really gets down to that. It's if they approve a new budget, or if they just sign, or what else they can do is just kind of sign and kind of continue the budget. And then if that does, it'll kind of push it out. So it really gets down to the budget and when they actually pass it. So we'll see what happens. But usually, the earliest we would hear back from this, I would just say earliest we would probably hear back would probably be like October, November. October, November is probably when we hear it. Now, if something happens earlier, it would be great. But I would rather under-promise than over-deliver.
Right.
Yes.
Well, did you have anything else that you wanted to
No,
say?
just thank you very much, just for having us here today, and look forward to getting this application submitted with the township, and hopefully we can all create a win-win and create some benefit for the township, and because we would love to try to figure out ways how we can do additional projects here in the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number 8, payment of bills, Madam Treasurer.
I'd like to make a motion to pay bills in the amount of $1,715,508.12.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions for Madam Treasurer? No, hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,715,508.12, please.
Trustee Favdal,
Yes.
trustee Campbell,
Yes.
trustee Clee,
Yes.
treasurer Anderson.
Yes.
Trustee Burt, no. Supervisor Miller.
Yes.
And clerk Triplett, yes.
Are there any correspondence or informational items? I don't think so. New business, action item A, is an appointment to the Fire Retirement Board that's vacant as of, I think right now, March of 2023. And you have in front of you, I spoke with Chief Beckley. We have a few other members on the board. I know our controller, Kevin McIntyre, is on the fire retirement. Our treasurer, Lisa Anderson, is on the fire retirement. Retired Fire Chief John Ringwalski is on the fire retirement board. Our current Fire Marshal, Tim Nestor, and now you said you're willing to, and if someone would like to make the motion to appoint Chief Beckley to the fire retirement board, that would be in order.
Clee would move that we accept the opportunity for the appointment of Chief Brett Beckley to the Retirement Board, and included in this motion to approve the appointments of the following as well: Lisa Anderson, term expiring 1124, Kevin McIntyre, term expiring 325. Former Chief Ringwalski, term expiring 325. Chief Brett Beckley's term would be 325. Fire Marshal Tim Nestor, 325. So the inclusion of all of those in the motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Any comments? All those in favor of those appointments signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Those stand approved. Action item B is the 2023 dust control contract from the Road Commission. You have the contract before you, and a motion would be in order to approve it. The Road Commission does the first application around Memorial Day, and that cost is split 50% the Road Commission, 50% the township, and let me see.
Second one is,
The cost for the township for that is $16,552.65. The second application is around July. We've done a few things in the past. We have done the second application where we pay for the whole thing, which would be $33,105. I don't think we budgeted that much this year for this. We have skipped it in the past, and also we've done a brine application, which is a fraction of the cost. And that's included in the application. You could choose to do that. And then the third application is paid for by the Road Commission, and it's zero cost to the township. So, like I said, we did not budget. We have enough in the street millage, municipal street millage budgeted to split the first application. And I think there's possibly enough for a brine application, but I have to get those costs. But I'm looking for the board to approve for the 50% split on the first application and have the Road Commission do the third application, and that would cost the township nothing.
we would move that we would accept the proposal to split the first application on the dust control, and that we would then allow the County Road Commission to pay for the third application. And then with that, I would like to include the potential for us to cover the brine, cover half the brine during the second, if it is necessary for those dirt roads, and to assist those that live on the gravel and the dirt roads to help to knock that stuff down in the main hot part of the summer.
Is there a second to the motion?
I know there was a lot of cluster there, but no pun intended.
I'll support it.
Any questions or discussion?
I have a
Sure.
question, for clarification. They will not pay for a third if we don't do the second one, right?
No, they do.
They do.
I know
Be the
it's
first.
kind of,
I'm sorry.
If you don't split the first one.
Yes, if we
They
don't
won't
split the
split.
first one, they won't pay. If we were to say no for the first one, they don't do anything with us with the third. So if we'll accept to split the first one, we don't have to do the second one, and they will pay for the third one.
so far our
Not a
costs,
third one if we don't do the second one though, right? That was my confusion.
well,
I
a lot
think,
of,
right?
I don't know why they do that, and they've often said that was the second one, the third one's optional, but a lot of townships will split the cost of the first one and then just take the third one, the one at the end of summer, free from the Road Commission.
And not do anything in the middle.
And not, some do, if they have longer dirt roads, some will do calcium chloride, some will do brine.
Can,
you.
and I'm gonna ask then also, and I had put a call into you earlier today, and I didn't get back to you on that. It's on my fault, it's back in the doctor. I did want to find out what that cost for the brine
Sure.
would be, so that we can at least approve this evening, so that we move forward with the first one. We know the third one's on tap, but then we know what
Sure.
kind of money
I'll get the cost and
we're
bring it
going to
back.
be doing for the brine, and that helps those, again, back to the gravel and the dirt roads, to understand that we are looking in their best interest.
Yep, alrighty.
And just like with Mr. Leverett, of looking at the potential and the possibility of what we can pay to have somebody sweep the nastiness off the roads once the snow quits
Road-
coming down.
Road Commission, yeah. Alrighty, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, roll call please on the contract, on approving the contract from Genesee County to split the cost of the first application and take the third application for free. And I'll bring cost estimates for brine application for midsummer.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
And Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so our next meeting is March 20th, and if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned.